Hey, what's up guys? Today is just a review on this Jebao, or Jebao, however you pronounce it, auto dosing pump. It's 4-channel. It's a model DP4. I found it for $90 on Amazon, and it has good reviews. So I've spent anywhere from $200 to $400 on a dosing pump before. When I had reef tanks, trying to remember the model I had before, but it was not this model. It was a $400-ish range model. It came with 3 dosing containers. This particular one does not come with containers, but for $90 in the reviews that I read, it sounds like it's a pretty good pump. And really all you need is halfway decent pumps, and you know the rest of it's going to do what it's supposed to do. There's some cool features on here that I want to show you guys. So just right off the bat, this isn't something you need, especially if you have a smaller tank where you're not dosing as much. I have the 180, that's what this is installed on, and it's using quite a bit. So I'm at that point where, for this price, right around, I've probably got, I don't know, maybe 110, 120 bucks into this setup, with the dosing containers, lines, and everything. For me it was worth it because I've got other tanks to worry about, and if I can just have this tank dose itself, it's pretty cool. And I'm gonna go over some more. There's more to it than just automated dosing, and I'll get into that here in a few minutes. But so fairly easy to use. It's one of those things you play with it for 5-10 minutes and your average Joe can figure it out. The instructions actually really aren't, they're not bad to read. I don't know, I noticed right off the bat almost like an error in the directions, and maybe I'm just not understanding it correctly, but so hopefully this video will help some people out. And again, I'm pretty fresh with this, so I'm still learning. But so basically, as you guys can see right now, you get the date, so you plug the date in, plug the time in. That's just gonna allow you to you're gonna have automated dosing, so it's gonna go by the clock. Fairly simple. So I'm not going to show you how to actually do that, to set it, because it's fairly easy as soon as you turn it on. But as I go through these menus, you're going to kind of understand the keys and what they do. So obviously, as you can see, there's an escape key. The center key between all 4 arrows is like an enter key. You basically can just consider that an enter key. And the various arrows are going to allow you to make certain changes to the settings. So let's just go in here and hop in and hit enter in the center, and you're going to see set date and time, and you're going to see set program. So in order to set date and time, you're going to go into set date and time, and it's going to be fairly obvious, guys. The date, you're going to move the arrows up and down, and it's not hard to figure out. And then when you're done, you push enter. So we're going to skip right over that into set program. Okay, so you're going to hit enter in the center, and there's your pump set. Now one thing I'm kind of realizing right now is why is there so many pumps? Because there really is only 4 pumps. So I don't know the answer to that. I didn't really think about that until right now. But I'm just gonna go ahead and set pump 1 through 4. Maybe you can hook up additional pumps and network them together. There is a network cable on the back of here. Honestly, don't know. Maybe they have a piggyback setup that goes to this or something. But so we're gonna just stick through 1 through 4 for right now, because I know that this works. So so let's go ahead and hit enter on pump 1 is what is flashing right now. Okay, so times per day. This is one of the cool features about a dosing pump. Okay, so for those of you that are familiar with dosing, you can dose manually. You can dose an entire week's worth of fertilizers, or you could space it out daily, which I find daily has been awesome, because it's a more consistent flow. You're not dumping a whole week's worth in that your plants can't use. And I just think that doing that is I've had more success with the fewest amount of dosings possible. So for this, it's just asking you basically how many times do you want to break up your dose throughout the day on this pump. So you're able to basically say, okay, instead of picking this certain time and dumping in 15 milliliters of whatever, you can break that 15 milliliters up as many times as you want, up to 24 times a day in 24 hours. So I'm choosing 10 for this first pump. This first pump is going to be my Excel, dosing Excel. So I've got my dose broken up into 10 milliliters a day for this tank. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do 1 milliliter 10 times a day with this pump. So what it's going to allow me to do is just space out, 1 milliliter 10 times. So I'm having it come on like an hour before the lights come on, and it's dropping a milliliter, and then every hour or half hour, depending on how I set it, I'm probably going to do it like once every hour. It's going to put a 1 milliliter of Excel into the tank, and I really think that's going to be beneficial for it, to slow release the fertilizers in rather than to dump in the full daily amount. So I'm gonna basically be doing, and sorry, this just timed out while I was explaining that, so I'm just gonna kind of bounce back in here real quick. So right back down to set program, enter, pump 1, and there it is. 10 times a day I've got it going, okay? Alright, so to go to the next thing, because there's several different things we need to set up for this single pump, we're gonna hit enter again. Now you can see that it says interval days, okay? Now this is something I don't completely understand, but from what I understand, an interval would be some sort of a pause. So you've got up to 30 days of pausing. Now I haven't had experience with this, but this allows you to skip days, to only do so many days, but for me, I'm doing 0 because I want to dose daily. Okay, so that's fairly simple. And guys, to change these numbers, it's just up and down on the arrows and all the way to 30. On the right hand side, you'll notice the parentheses at 0 through 30 means you can go up to 30 days. So I would think if you set it for 30, you'd get, or maybe 29, you'd get 1 dose a month. I don't know, I'm not really sure and clear on how it works, but it does allow you to skip days, which is a cool feature. Not something I'm going to be using, but so we're going to go ahead and hit enter because we're going to skip that. Now it's dosing volume, guys. But notice how it says underneath P1, meaning pump 1, dosing volume, it says number 1. That's 1 out of 10. Remember, I was doing 10 times a day. Okay, so it's allowing me to break down each of those doses, okay? So I want 1 milliliter because I'm going to break up my 10 milliliters, right, into 1 milliliter. And then our next menu is what time I want each of those 10 small doses. So I'm starting at 1400 hours because my lights come on at 1500 hours. So I want to get that little bit of dose in there before the lights come on, and then I want to consistently over each half hour, I haven't decided yet, I'm going to dump the other 9 drops or milliliters. Okay, so fairly easy, guys. So yeah, and then you got your volume, back to your volume again, but this is for, notice this is for number 2. This is your second out of your 10, out of my 10. So I'm doing a milliliter again, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna set my time. That you just hit enter, and now it's the time for number 2. So on and so forth. You're gonna go all the way up to my 10, and then be done. All right, guys. So it's simple as that. That's your program end of this this unit. That's your automatic part of this dosing pump. So you'd go ahead and you'd do the same thing and repeat and just go through to pump 2, to pump 3, to pump 4. And again, how many times a day you're going to go and set each milliliter each time. So it's fairly easy to use. And once it's programmed, guys, it's programmed. I mean, as long as you don't need to make any changes, it's smooth ride from there. It's just going to take care of it for you. So so that's basically it on that. So we're going to go ahead and hit escape, and we're going to get escape again and get back to the main screen. Now there's also a manual dosing. There's a way to get in here manually, and so there's a correct here, which I'm not familiar with yet. Okay, menu mode. Here's menu mode, guys. All right, so this is if you wanted to manually dose. Okay, so that would just mean that you're gonna hold down the button or program, you know, each pump for a manual setting, which you can also have saved on hand. So if you wanted to just whatever, you can hold the button down and it just continuously runs until you let off. You know, if you find that you just want to add a little something, you want to overdose on your Excel a little bit, you could just go right in here and just hit the button and just automatically manual dose. So by doing that, you just hit enter. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the pump firing up. So you just hold it down for as long as you want. So that's basically the other half. Like I said, guys, I'm not real clear on what correct means. I don't know. That could be some sort of an alteration to them. I'm really not sure. But for the normal person, I don't think, unless it's something that I'm not, you know, that's kind of going completely past me, I don't think you really need it, or it's not something that you're really going to use. But possibly for some people. So I'm not really going to get into that. So basically, that's it, guys. It's super simple. And you know, real quick, I'll show you the box again, just so you know. It's the DP4 model auto dosing pump. It's a 4-channel pump. And guys, if you look straight in the middle there, each, you know, you see your 4 pumps. They actually send you an extra pump, which is pretty cool. You know, and you can get them. They're available online as well. I don't know a price on them, but they do give you a 5th one, which is pretty cool. So for those of you who aren't familiar with a dosing pump, this just gives you a front angle up view of it. So each pump has 2 lines, an input and an output. So you basically would have a storage container that you would keep your fertilizers in, and it's going to pick up out of one, go through, and that pump just pumps it right out the other side, and you'd run that up to your tank with some sort of a bracket or something. Now, I don't have my stuff run yet. I just got in to set my programs. I got to finish setting the other 2. So I will go pick up a bracket and mount it on the back of my tank, which basically just allows you to bring the airline tubing style hose, or if you're like me, I use more of like a harder plastic line that's the same diameter. Just because here's just one thing I've experienced, guys, with dosing pumps. You know, with a reef tank, you obviously have the choice of using a calcium reactor to dose alkalinity, or, you know, you can use dosing, you know, soda ash or whatever. So when I did it, you know, this was several years ago when calcium reactors weren't really that huge yet. I did just dosed a soda ash liquid, you know, type solution. So I use a dosing pump. And one thing, if you use a regular airline tubing that's flexi, if you're not, you know, if you don't have it run really that great and you just kind of hucked it in there or whatever, just over time it can settle. If you get some sort of a kink in that line, you know, where that stuff really kinks easily, I just recommend going with a stiffer line, because I've had it happen where, you know, I went in there to do something and I moved something and I didn't see it and I pinched the line, and if that starts dosing, it builds up pressure. And usually what happens, if you look at those little tubes that are coming out of those pumps, those will blow up before a regular airline. This is made of like a rubber. It's more of like a yellow rubber, so it's going to build pressure and it's going to bubble there, and then it's going to explode. And that's what happened to me, and it made a huge mess. And you know, obviously I had to go, you know, replace the pump or the line or whatever. So just something to look out for. I'm always trying to help people out, you know, to save people the hassle. So go with a harder tubing. So yeah, you connect in and out, you know, so you're sucking out of your reservoir, it's going up to your tank. And before you get your program, you have to purge the lines depending on how long your lines are. Make sure you remember to purge them all the way to the end. And then, you know, basically set it and forget it, guys. You know, it's not a bad idea to keep an eye on it for a few days to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And, you know, just always be aware and make sure, you know, because stuff can malfunction. But generally, I've never had an issue with it other than that time that I kinked the line. So you should be in good shape. So that's pretty much it for the doser, guys. I mean, I was going to install it and show you guys, but, you know, really the only difference is going to be just some hidden lines behind my tank and then a bracket on the top. So we'll revisit this on another video. I'll just kind of, you know, on like an update or a video, a review or something, I'll just kind of show you guys how I ended up mounting the bracket on the back, and you know, anything I ran into doing that. So but like I said, guys, this isn't something you have to do, but it is kind of cool. Just one less thing you'll have to do. And remember is the other thing. It's not just that you have to do it, it's that if you are going to remember to do it. So you know how it is, guys, how life is. You get a busy day and something's on your mind. It may completely skip your mind, and then you don't dose your tank. Well, it throws off the balance. So, and then one cool thing I want to bring up, guys, about me doing, if you guys dose, the reason that you're probably wondering, why does he break up his dose into 10, why does he do a milliliter every hour? Well, it may sound silly, but guys, the longer you space out your dose, the more consistent your tank is going to be, okay? And I kind of want to get a debate going there. If anybody's has any thoughts on that, this is something that I've used with my reef tank and with really, really good luck. So, think about it. You dump in a whole bunch of stuff all at once, your tank's kind of like, it's not going to hurt anything. It's going to be fine. There's not going to be any different, major differences. But I believe if you break up your doses, more and more and more, obviously it's hard to dose you're not going to dose a drop every hour. That's crazy. No one would do that. But if you have the the will to do it with something like this, there's a reason why it's there. It's it's there because people use 100 milliliters of fluid or whatever to dose a massive tank, but you can use it to your advantage by spacing out the dose and just you're not putting a whole bunch in at once. Your fish are around there. It may or may not affect them. I mean, typically all this stuff's safe, but is it really good if your fish are directly underneath? They think you're putting food in the tank and you dump a huge thing of iron in there. You can't say that that's the best thing for them, but are they gonna die? Probably not. So just a cool thing, guys. You can space it out, real consistent. So real quick look at my containers that I bought, my dosing containers. So like I said, guys, $89.99 for this guy, all right? And I got these two giant dosing containers basically, and got them all marked up. I'm gonna do Excel, my potassium. I've got a third one, guys. It's just in the other room, but it's gonna be for my iron. Those are the three things I'm dosing for now. I've got that extra fourth channel for the pump, so I'm thinking about throwing new algae in there, and I'm gonna do an interval setting so that every 4 days it puts in the appropriate mix. Now this tank, my tank here, usually takes, I think it was, all right, let's see now. It's like 10 or 15 milliliters of new algae every 4 days. So it's a decent amount. I mean, so easily I'll be able to program it and just, dump it into the tank. New algae is one of those things that you definitely don't want to overdose. You definitely can lose fish if you go crazy with it. You don't need, it's a very small dose. The stuff's a little expensive, but, it's definitely an awesome product. So now, just to look at the tank, a real quick update, one thing I noticed, guys, is the sag is going crazy. This is stuff I didn't plant. It's shooting over right against the glass, all new growth, got these crazy roots popping out. I planted that all 2 inches away from the front panel of glass. So this stuff's really doing good. And to be honest, when I noticed it was started taking off was when I upped the CO2 and I started trimming the top of it for the first time. When you trim stuff like this, it just promotes growth. I've got little shoots coming up all over the place. There's a little one over there coming up. They're all going throughout the middle. So that's what I'm trying to get, is that carpeting effect, guys. So really pumped about that. Got some new plants and stuff in here, some Ludwigia red and stuff. Everything's doing fairly well for now. CO2 is cranking. So, but thanks for watching, guys. So anybody that's considering one of these things, it's pretty awesome. It's a really cool thing to have, just to take just another worry, just another thing you don't have to worry about, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool, just to be able to have that done automatically for you. And you know, you gotta obviously check to make sure you don't run out of fluid, but I'm probably gonna start buying these dosing containers. They may not look that big, but they really are giant. I don't know if you can see that in comparison to my hand. I mean, maybe it really doesn't look that big, but it's huge. I bet you I can get almost a gallon, if not more, in these things. So I'm buying the Excel by the gallon now, because, you know, like I said, I think I'm using, what is it? It's quite a bit. I'm using 2 capfuls a day, which I think is like 10 milliliters. Yeah, I think it's 10 milliliters a day, so it's decent. So I cruise through the stuff, so it just makes sense for me to go a little bit heavier on the purchase. But yeah, guys, that's what's going on. Thanks for watching. Please take some time to comment, rate, subscribe. I appreciate all of you that are checking out my videos, and you know, I'm looking forward to your new videos and stuff. Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, please ask. Any comments, anything about this video or any other video or any other topic, something on the tank, whatever. I'm definitely willing to. I love talking about this stuff, and I love learning new things. So if anybody has suggestions, just want to show you guys the Tiger Lotus right now. This is something I noticed that just really took off with the CO2 and the ferts. I mean, just putting in the iron and the, you know, it's a red plant, so it's definitely liking the iron, potassium, Excel, you know, everything's really helping out. So definitely liking this plant. It's getting real tall fast. It was a small plant when I got it. I got another one kicking over here. It's doing pretty well. This one's kind of weird. It's getting a little green too. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have any you know, any input, please, I appreciate it. All right, have a good rest of the Saturday. Bye.